All right, so it's Friday night, about 11:30 p.m. in Las Vegas, and I'm cruising the Strip alone. I had a chance to go out tonight, but decided, you know what? I feel like I got to get some stuff off my chest, and I felt like it was important that I made this video tonight. I dropped Legend off last night, and I knew the weekend, I would feel alone because, without my son and my wife, it's like I live alone, and I'm like, man, what am I going to do? I have no friends here. I have no family here in Vegas. So it just kind of sucks. And so I was reaching out to a lot of friends. I was hitting them up saying, hey, come down to Vegas this week. Come hang out. And I was doing that mainly to I've been doing that a lot. I've been reaching out to a lot of friends, which has helped in a lot of ways, but it's also just it's just kind of masking or covering up the pain. I'm trying to seek outside things to not have to really think about, kind of what's going on in my life. And as I do that, I realize I'm just prolonging this process of healing and, trying to get over everything. And I've come to the conclusion that's obvious. I mean, I am the only person who can go down this road for me. I got to figure it out by myself. My friends can't do it. My family can't do it. I've got to do it. And so there's just some things that got to get off my chest. I'm feeling, I'm trying to be open in these vlogs and trying to help people understand who I am and what I'm going through, but also potentially help people, others who are struggling with the same thing. And if I don't face these fears or things, the struggles I got to go through, it's like they're going to be there forever. My brother-in-law, Ben, his grandmother wrote a book called Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. And I fully believe that. If I don't face the things going on, it's just going to take forever. And so me being alone is healing. I try to listen to music all the time and just cover up my mind chatter, but I can't. And so these vlogs kind of help me get it off my chest and, just kind of release a little bit. But I have a story, I think, that I've been thinking about a lot that goes along with how I'm feeling and, thinking about the future and just, I guess, trying to measure up or figure out my life and feel successful or accomplished in anything, and I was listening to a book and they told a story about a guy named Dave Mustaine, right? And back in the 80s, he started a sick band that was killing it. They were getting all these gigs, and he was the lead guitarist of this band, right? He co-founded it. And this band, 2 to 3 days, I guess, before they were to get signed by a record deal, they kicked Dave out of the band and woke him up in the morning and just basically handed him a bus ticket and said, you're out of here. So he packed his stuff up, was way depressed, bummed out on the whole thing. Obviously, I mean, you put all this work into your band and then you get kicked out. And so he, instead of he got depressed or whatever, but instead of doing that, he thought, you know what, I'm going to start a new band and we're going to kick ass and we're going to make money and we're going to, show these guys how good we are. And so he started a band, and fast forward 30 years, Dave had now sold 20 million records worldwide, had traveled the world on world tours multiple times, was way successful, made tons of money, had the typical dream life, right? A big house, a hot babe wife, all these things that people want, money. And the band that Dave started was Megadeth, right? It's like a rock band. And he did an interview in, I think it was 2011, and this is where the story comes from, where he just broke down and cried and said, I've never felt success, and I haven't felt like I've been successful in any way, because the band that he originally got kicked out of was Metallica. And Metallica had sold 120 million records worldwide. So they had sold 100 million more records than Megadeth. And Dave looked at this for 30 years as he's going through his whole thing, traveling the world. He looked at Metallica as his bar for success, because he thought he was never good enough because he got kicked out of Metallica. And so he could never fully accept his success in his life. And he, in this interview, they were saying he just broke down and he was like crying and real emotional, and he just never let it go. And I feel similar feelings, and I think it can be healing for a lot of people, is whether you're going through a divorce or whether you're just in life or even in your own marriage or in business. I mean, I got kicked out of a business that I started, a few years ago, and for me it was hard, and I felt like, man, I'm never going to feel successful until this business fails, right? It was my Metallica. I was like, okay, I just hope they fail and they're done, right? And then I'll feel successful. Well, I feel the same feelings with, marriage. I feel like my marriage was Metallica. It was, it's great. And now I'm basically at a point where, I'm going to start a new band. I got to start my Megadeth, right? And I'm on this journey to finding happiness and success in my personal life, and it's hard because I think like that Dave Mustaine. I think, oh, you know what? Well, maybe what's going to happen is my old band member is going to get somebody who's way awesome and have a really kick-ass band that sells 120 million records worldwide, and I only sell 20 million. And that's that's a weird way of thinking about how I feel, but it's real. It's like, no matter what happens, I have to find success and happiness in my own life, regardless of what happens to my old band, right? I think that's all I wanted to say. I think just, instead of being like Dave Mustaine, anybody in your life, in your own marriage, you can't measure up. There's always somebody better than you. There's always somebody better than you. Even LeBron James, he's supposedly the best, but people measure him up to Michael Jordan, right? There's always somebody better. And the grass is never greener. It's never greener. You got to water your own grass and make it grow. And that's the only way you'll be successful. And I'm on that path right now, trying to find success and not measure up to whatever happens to anybody else in their life, or a new marriage, or anything else that comes my way. I've got to be happy with myself. And that, I think, that's for me the key right now. It's the key to my life, is finding success and happiness in my life. That's it. That's all I want to say. Had to get that shit off my chest.